Hello, everyone. I thought I would hop on here and do a quick video critique because we have three really good submissions from Nicholas, Abhishek, and Satya. And I wanted to kind of hop on, give some feedback, allow you guys to see what each other are working on, perhaps learn from each other. So I'm just going to go through each one individually and kind of talk through things. I'll start with Nicholas here. So I wanted to talk about that it's really cool that you're doing this animated character in the scene and that you're kind of plussing it. I think it's a really good opportunity to learn. I would highly recommend you doing this with a couple of different images. I think we talked about this with your frog one, because it's hard to get these assets, and it's also a really cool way to demonstrate strong lighting ability is to take one scene and light it with three different styles ish, and then just show the reference in your demo reel. So a couple things when I first look at this, and the biggest things are, well, the biggest positives I take away is how I think the environment lighting is working out really well. Like I see a lot of shaping in through here. I see a lot of shaping coming back along this wall. I had a library scene in Peanuts recent. I guess I wasn't that recently, but I definitely remember like lighting all of these books back here like this. The one thing I would say that we did and it really helped was really try and like all these like little um, slashes going down the books, the little gold. Really try and highlight those a little bit. Kind of try and make those sparkle even in the darkness because they are reflecting. Like they'll pick up some light reflecting off of that lamp onto there and onto the space. But overall, I think the environment's making a lot of sense and working really well. The one thing about the environment that I might want to look into, and actually let's take a look at your reference here. And I was looking at that lamp in the background, and you can see a little bit of it here. Is that this is a little more centralized around the bulb, where in yours it's pretty like uniform across the whole thing. I would just kind of in a slight, like just allow a slight gradient there in the middle to take hold. Now onto the character lighting. You provided some really phenomenal reference here of like from her, and I think that's Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy. We've got some Lincoln, we've got some Good Will Hunting, the Heath Ledger one, Brothers Grimm maybe, I don't know, I'm guessing, and then some great painting reference, like a lot of really strong reference to work with here. The one thing about yours that I'm noticing that's different than all of these is the amount of subsurface scattering within the skin. It's great to have it, but it's very dangerous because he's starting to look a little bit. Um, the closest thing that I can describe it to, and I always do this, is to call it like a gummy bear effect, and that like this amount of subsurface in like you want it a little bit on the ear, maybe a little bit in the nose, maybe a little bit on the chin, a tiny bit in the fingers, but you're starting to see like glowiness in the hand there, and then like just over here, it just feels like he doesn't have bones under his skin. Like it feels like all the light is free to pass through under his skin because he's just kind of filled with jelly. So I would look at your scale of your subsurface scattering shader and tone that down a little bit. Or actually, I guess would be making it the scale of it bigger so that less light passes through. Because if you look at again, looking at the reference, like um, some of this, like it gets if the light pretty much just stops right there, you don't really get a good sense of it coming all the way through them. Same thing here. There's strong key light happening here. There's that kind of glancing fill light there, and then some kind of it's almost like a reverse Rembrandt where there's like darkness in a triangle there. Let's see. Yeah, these are some really strong examples. And the one thing I was looking at with yours, there was a couple things. Other than the subsurface scattering, I think we can do more to get some specular highlights in the hair up there. I also think like the light that's hitting the side of him here doesn't feel like it's coming from this. It feels like it's coming more from like off screen left this way. So I would almost treat this more as like a rim around him and then just like maybe keep this light as is, but tone it down maybe 50% and then put a slightly stronger rim from this light source on him. And I guess only make it like as if it's passing over. So only make it like from here up. Don't make it down there. Um, And then, so this is kind of a big window light coming in this way. I would make these eye dings not that big, but like I would make these eye dings a little bigger to reflect like a window light coming in. And then additionally, I get what you're doing by creating the vignette here, but it feels a little odd that there's a bunch of window light here and here, but we're not seeing any of it back in there. Like I would just hint a little bit at the window in this region, just a touch, like a third of the value there, just like a little bit, so it feels like this room's kind of happening together because it feels like the chairs and him are separated. Because like if you look at the structure of the room, there's a wall that goes here, there's a wall that goes here. Theoretically, it then goes in front of him here, and that's where the window light is, and like that would hit some of this area here. Sorry, that's a terrible diagram, but you get my idea. Um, and then I would just watch out for some of these like super blacks in here. And then I would add a little bit of lift the value of that shader on his cane just a little bit because it's getting lost. But all in all, I think this is working really well. And then the other thing, and again, this will come with when you increase the um, scale, is that it just looks like the hair is just kind of sticking in. There's like really not a lot of shadow contact there. So watch out for that. And then in the eyes, just make sure you're getting like an ambient occlusion or something just to kind of create a little bit of a contact shadow between the eyeball and the eye itself to kind of set it back in space a little bit. But yeah, overall, I think this is looking really good. Just and also watch out for that little bright spot on that book. Just tone that down. But overall, this is structuring out really, really well, and I think you're going on the right path. Abhishek, I will take a look at this one. Really cool reference. It's so funny. Like this is such a common color scheme right now, and I really like it. Like the blue pink color scheme. We had another example. It was of Hugh Jackman with pretty much the exact same lighting setup, where it's very stagey because there's two just like there's one light coming this way, one light coming this way. They're neither key nor fill. They're both like equally powerful, but just like casting so much light. And the one thing I want to look at, I was looking at this reference, is like check out like that specky where the two areas meet right down her arm because this part of the hair is mostly getting blue. This part of the hair is mostly getting the warmer red pink. Um, and like, but that's the one area where they kind of come together a little bit and make some white light with some specular highlight. Now, yours, I'm seeing much more of the pink than I am of the blue, and I would work to get a similar balance where the blue is almost, it's like 50-50, where it's like 50% light coming in this way, 50%, same intensity of light coming in this way. The orange of the bulb complicates it a little bit, so I would either consider making that one of the two colors or just neutralizing it and making it almost white. Um, as a way of keeping like because what it does is it breaks down the structure of the image, which is the warm tone, cool tone combining in the middle. And then like I was looking at this here, you get something similar down his pants here, and we're not really seeing the same type of where they come together. It just becomes like super bright red, and I would really like to see them meld into like a more neutral because they kind of cancel each other out a little bit. And the other big thing with this one is I want you to start working with is it's really hard to light a character over black, right? Like it will be much better practice for you and a much better piece if you start to work in even like even just like this super abstract ramp of a background going across, just something in the space here to kind of go across. And what I would do is just put like a curved um, like make a plane and make it like a curved plane, like we did. Oh, I ran out of space there. Make it look like that, and then put your little dancing guy here, um, and that way, when the light hits, you won't like it'll kind of his shadow will fall here, and then this will just be like a soft gradient in the background. The reason why you don't want to put a character on a like you don't want to put a plane here and a plane here is you'll see that line. You'll see like a hard line back here, and you don't want that. That's why you want the soft gradient. I learned that from photography. So yeah. So I would just kind of go back and tweak this a little bit. Like I said, neutralize that. Really get the blue light to be stronger. Allow this warm light to be not necessarily the key light, but like 50-50. what's happening to her hair, you kind of want to simulate that a little bit up here, um, and making some reflections in the glass. You may want to create like a reflection map to kind of simulate some stuff around the sides. I mean, I can see a little bit of it looks like an area light there, but what you have to remember with reflective surfaces is that they are uh, like when you light them, you don't actually add light to them. You add stuff in the surroundings for them to reflect, and that's how you get them to light up. So, like if you want to create this here, you would want to put something blue off camera over there for this to reflect off of, and that way we kind of see it a little bit more. But yeah, so I would just do that for the next iteration, and then Satya, we have this alley scene. We've got your reference here. It's really cool. I like these scenes doing them at night, um, because you're able to kind of balance the warm tones of the uh, your man-made lights with the cool tones of the sky and the night and everything. And I think that's a really really fun project and a really fun challenge. A couple things I noticed right away. I really really like what's going on with your light there. You're feeling the bulb here. There's some, it's bright, but you're feeling some variation in there. I really like the payoff in here that we're seeing like these little pieces of fruit down there. I think that's really cool. And overall, you're getting that warm, cool combo. Some other things that I noticed that I think can improve this is I think that this area back here it's too saturated, um, and it's like kind of drawing my eye back there without the payoff. So I would uh, tone that down a little bit in terms of the saturation and then also the value. Additionally, and this is just something that exists in the set, but there's nothing inside these rooms. And so it'd be kind of cool, like if I'm looking out my window right now into some of the surrounding buildings around me, and you really start to see like at least some outlines of stuff, and like just like little uh, things behind the curtains to add some sort of silhouette. And I think that that would be really a really good thing for you to add as well. Additionally, we're getting some things that are turning out to be super super dark, like like this and this plant over here, this area over here. And what I would do with each one of them would just be like add a little bit of like these areas back here, just add like a little bit of a diffuse light, or just like some, like think about it just being like bounce light. It's like it's just getting a little bit too dark, especially if you're looking at this hard shadow here. Um, I would definitely soften that up because this light passes through glass and gets diffused that way, so you wouldn't see that level of hard shadow. Um, these plants would get a little bit of specular light coming in from the sky. Over here, similar to what we were just talking about in the last image, there's bright light around it, and then there's metallic objects, like there's a metallic pole, there's a doorknob, there's some other little stuff in there that you can pick up. There's the awning up there. All of those can pick up specular highlights from the surrounding of the sky and create a little bit more shaping in that area. One of the other challenges of this set, and you've got it going a little bit, is just like this wall. You want to separate it, like you want there to be a 1, 2, 3 thing going on. Um, and actually like 3 could also be 1, but just something to separate this so we can see that that is a different wall. It just creates more dimension to the space and it's making it a little bit more dynamic. Um, I would also maybe throw an apple here and here, just so it's not like perfectly falling into that ray of light coming down. But yeah, that's pretty much most of it. I think that's all of it for right now that I'm seeing. Yeah, and don't feel bad about these plants, especially they are notorious for not like you really have to hit them with a lot of spec light for those to really pick up a little bit. And then yeah, so all in all, I think you guys are doing great work. I think that all 3 of these are making good progress and have potential. So if you have questions, let me know, and if not, I will talk to you all next week or into this week. I'm thinking of Sunday, Mondays next week. Good night, everybody. Happy lighting.